Welcome back to Writing the Heart. On Monday, I introduced you to this book, To Shake the Sleeping Self by Jedediah Jenkins. And I spoke a little bit about Jedediah and how this book came to be, that he had become an Instagram sensation. This is back in 2011 by sharing his internal and external journey about riding his bicycle with a friend from Oregon to Patagonia. And we talked about how Jedediah sort of has this way of asking big questions about, what it means to be an adult, what it means to be able to leave parts of your past behind and become somebody new. And then I offered a passage and pulled some quotes for you to use as a prompt. And today I want to go a little bit deeper and read another passage. This is also from toward the end, and I offer another prompt for you today. So here we go. From there, we crossed a log bridge over rushing snowmelt. The ground was black and moist. Moss and green ferns grew everywhere. It had begun to drizzle or mist, or that strange in-between place where water seems to float in the air and collect on your face and sleeves. Mom was getting tired, but she kept up a pleasant conversation anyway. She pointed out delicate ferns and flowers. One little collection of flowers looked like chubby maids in white and yellow bonnets, and my mom squealed in delight and knelt down to take a photo. 20 photos. I told her we needed to keep moving. If I can't enjoy the trail, what's the point in the hike, she said. I started walking on ahead again, letting my thoughts drift back over my trip, thinking how far I'd come, wondering whether or not I had changed at all. I knew I had. But how? These walkabouts, these rites of passage, these spirit quests are meant to transform. We want to meet Jesus on the road, to be stopped in our tracks by a white light or a burning bush. I didn't get any of that. I got the erosion of the shoreline of a river, one pebble at a time. I wanted to change. I wanted to be born different, to be replaced and born again, new, forgotten, and remade. I don't know how that happens. I guess you have to completely erase your past, which I wasn't ready to do. So I carried it with me, no matter how hard I ran from it. And so that last line is our prompt for today. I'm going to read it again a couple of times. So I carried it with me, no matter how hard I ran from it. One more time. So I carried it with me, no matter how hard I ran from it. And so I want you to, again, allow yourself to drop in, see if you can feel your body as you write. Try not to just come from the cerebral place in your head. See if you can feel all of you as you just allow yourself to see where this takes you. With no judgment, no need to write in a perfect way. Okay? So that's the prompt for today. And then on Thursdays, I like to offer just a little bit of a craft teaching in case you want to spend the weekend turning what you've written this week into a story. And I want to emphasize again, there's no pressure to do this. The journaling, the free writing is sort of the point of Writing the Heart. But again, I'm a big believer in the power of story to show us things about ourselves, to show us how we've moved from one place in our life to the other, because a story involves, a struggle to overcome something, large or small, and then arriving at the other side into a realization or an epiphany. So today, my little craft tip today is to write with action. Action is what pulls the reader through your story. And often when I get a manuscript or see a piece of writing from a client, a lot of it will be just kind of thinking and spinning in their heads, and it lacks sort of something to pull us through. And that's where action is necessary. And it doesn't have to be like an action movie. It doesn't have to be big action. Sometimes you can just sort of sneak in a little bit. She said to me as we pulled away from the curb, just subtle things to keep the reader moving through the story, because, our brains are wired for story. And certainly we have opportunities when we write about our lives to stop the action and sort of drop in and say a few philosophical things or to make some meaning. But the reader is not going to, be too patient with you. They're going to want to see you return to the action. So that's my tip, the writing craft tip for the day. Again, I hope you just in this prompt drop in and see where it takes you. And over the weekend, if you feel like, turning this free writing into a story, try on adding a little more action to your writing. So that's all for today, and I'll see you on Monday.